All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Musical Hell, such as it is. And with me are three people who I have been very thrilled to know during my time doing videos. I've all guested on everybody's things. We have occasionally done music theater themed Dungeons and Dragons together, but they are some of my favorite people in the world. Please welcome Jess from Musicals with Cheese and the Cheese Wheel, Emily from Stealing Focus, and Tommy from Music Theater MASH. And hello, please.
I thought we were dressing up.
Until that moment, and now we know why.
Dear sweet Dr. Dillamond.
Something bad.
Yes. And in case you haven't noticed from our thematic costume stuff, we are talking about Wicked Part 1.
It's good to see me, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
This is the longest intermission I've ever been a part of.
Oh, yeah. I know.
So this movie has been touted for years. I mean, I swear to God, it was like every year they were saying like Wicked was coming out in 2019 or 2021. It's finally here, at least the first half of it is. So why don't we start by, going over a little bit of where we were coming in on this? Because Emily, I believe you actually saw the out-of-town tryouts in, San Francisco?
Yeah. It's very right place, right time. I was in college, my senior year of college at UC Santa Cruz in summer of 2003. And I had stayed up there for some reason. And so Wicked was going to San Francisco before going to Broadway. And, it was like very like proto theater fandom, internet theater fandom, but we all knew it was coming. And so my friend Ryan came up from Southern California.
Why don't you say his full name?
Okay, my friend Ryan Scott Oliver.
Let me pick up that name you dropped.
He's been in my wedding, both of my weddings, and he's I've known him forever. He just did a podcast the other day where he like talked about me and my mom being the reason why he is. It's no big deal. Doing children's theater. But anyway, so we were, really ambitious 20-year-olds, and we would go and do something really obnoxious musical theater kid every summer. So we went to Chicago to go see Bounce, and we went to the Kennedy Center for their Sondheim celebration. We were so annoying, but it was coming to San Francisco, which was obviously right around the corner from Santa Cruz. So Ryan and our other friend Brianne drove up, I think just for the weekend. And we went up, and I have my original program right here.
Oh, and that's collector's item right there.
I know it's in draft 1. The artwork is definitely in draft 1, and that's Norbert Leo Butts' autograph right there.
You got a Butts on there.
That's I got some Butts on there. And yeah, so that's actually, I listened to the cast recording a million times. I was obsessed, like that in Avenue Q to find like my car driving my senior year of college. But the only time I've ever seen it on stage proper was that pre-Broadway tryout. And I loved seeing it because, there are songs that changed, there were beats that changed. I remember I just watched a bootleg slime tutorial the other night just to kind of remind myself of the stage version. And I'll never forget how, we can't all, it's what does she say? She says, we can't all travel by bubble. That line was like one of the funniest line readings like ever. Like Idina Menzel like hit the B so hard, like by bubble. And I remember thinking that was so funny. And I watched the slime tutorial the other night, and she kind of just like ran through it. And I was like, wow, it's so interesting how beats change and things change. And I remember being in the audience, seeing the Dorothy Gale's house, and everyone in the audience is like, oh my God. The other thing is, I feel like Christy, you might be the same. I read the book right before I saw it. So the book was right in my head. And I remember
I actually saw it, or I had at least listened to the cast recording before I read the book. And that's always an interesting way of going at it, because you see Wicked and it's like, this nice, not exactly Disney-ish, but definitely family-friendly story about these two unlikely friends. And then you get the book, and there's like all this philosophy and religious stuff and violence. And there's this weird sex scene in this underground club that all go to.
So much sex.
It is definitely a very different
so much
experience.
sex stuff.
Her pussy is
and I
green,
was
it's
not
purple.
expecting it. I know. She's got a purple bush.
Well, and
I was not
she's probably
expecting
intersex too, but that's another thing.
She's got so much going on. I was not expecting it to be like girl power, and it's like, oh, actually, Buck is the Tin Man, and everything connects. And but it makes sense. It totally makes sense why that had to happen for the stage version. Anyway, so that's my kind of history with it. I'm a Wicked liker. I'm not a Wicked lover. Like I've always enjoyed Wicked, but like it's never been like, oh, Wicked. To me, but I like it. I like Wicked a lot, so that's where I stand.
I'm kind of in the same way. I like it. It's like not one of like my top 10 shows or anything, but I enjoyed it. I've seen it twice. Once on tour in Denver, and then last year my oldest son was on a school trip to New York, and of course they go to New York. They go to a Broadway show. That's what they did. And he actually really liked it. Neither of my kids are like super big theater, but I have managed to get them into like Hamilton and Come From Away and Hadestown. And so, yeah, he saw that and liked it. And so we went and saw this movie. It was me, my mom, who is like who loves Wicked, and also the original 1939 Wizard of Oz. And then my kids, and my oldest who had seen it before, and then my youngest who was going in completely, fresh. So we kind of had the whole range of experience here. So how about the guys? I'm curious.
So my first memory of Wicked is Wicked came out when I was in high school. And got the album, and like this was right when I was like, oh man, musical theater, this might be something I'm interested in. Also might be gay. Fascinating how those
those things go hand in hand.
Correlation.
But I remember it must have been like sophomore year of high school. It was on the Tonys. It was either sophomore or junior year. And like one of my good musical theater nerd friends from high school, it was our first big argument because I was like, I don't know if Wicked's gonna win. I think Avenue Q, and like I didn't know what the hell I was talking about at the time, but I was right.
Apparently, you did.
You were right.
And it was that was a really odd thing. And in fact, right after that, they like changed the rules so you couldn't openly campaign for awards just because Avenue Q pushed for it so hard.
So heavily, which is a thing I had no idea for at the time. So maybe I was subject to the Avenue Q advertising propaganda.
Nothing against Avenue Q. I mean, I think, a little of it has not, a lot of it probably has not aged well. But
it is the one that I have seen more than once on stage. I saw the original cast, but I think it's a good time capsule, just like how some musicals, like how Chorus Line is a time capsule,
like,
Avenue Q is a time capsule.
Yeah. It's a good show for like, Sesame Street, but it's disillusioned 20-somethings.
Right. And it definitely like I am not the kind of person who wants to listen to the album right before I go to the concert, so I was not re-listening to Wicked before I saw the movie, but I was like, I need to be listening to something, so I did listen to Avenue Q all day before I went to see the Wicked movie to kind of get me in the right mindset.
Back in 2003.
Exactly. But so saw the Tony Awards and then lived in Chicago, the touring, then sit-down production, which like what a term that has never existed and will never exist again. But so saw it in high school, and like it was in Chicago, so it started becoming a field trip regular sort of thing. So I like saw it in high school with Anna Gasteyer, then saw it again in college, then saw it again after college, like all kind of by accident, not because I was like, oh, must see Wicked. Like definitely enjoyed it, definitely was one of the first new musicals for me. Like it hallmarks a time in my life where the stuff I was listening to was old, and then I became interested in like, wait a minute, they're still making these things called musicals. How fascinating. I must look into this. And then Wicked came out, and like Wicked really, hit that kind of like iTunes CD album generation, which I think also spoke to a lot of its success, and that definitely was
it was definitely when that was taking off.
Yeah.
It was like that second, like, I don't know, it's like second wave of mega musicals for me. Like, the 80s, we had, the British ones. And then it's like by the early 2000s, the Americans were like, we could do these. And Wicked very much felt like in that vein. And I would say Wicked really changed the way Broadway women especially sing on Broadway, for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I also think it's like one of those like generational touchstone shows for like the music theater fans. Like, you know, we had Hamilton, but before that it was Wicked. Before that it was Rent. So, you know, it's like you kind of can kind of tell how old somebody is by whatever they were listening to in high school.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Which puts me in a weirder position than all of you guys.
So how was middle school when Wicked came out, Jess?
Yeah, right. How was being born when Wicked came out?
Jesus.
How was being in utero when Wicked came out?
I was 93, so I was 7, 6 around there. So it kind of, you guys, it was the brand new musical. I don't remember a time where Wicked didn't exist and wasn't the thing. So it was kind of like an older show along with like the Rents and all that. And I was a Wicked appreciator liker at first, but then I swung really hard recently. I've seen the show about,
Fair.
I've seen the show quite a bit. Because my partner loves it a lot, and I am now a part of the press in, so I get to see these shows for free now. Oh boy! And at the most recent one, I think it's my 4th time seeing it live. Third row, like, and Act 1 is over, and I'm like, oh no, has the book always been this bad?
That's what I was gonna say. I feel like there's always been some book problems with the show, and there's dropped threads that they have to drop for the Wizard of Oz to happen.
Wait, and I'm so curious about this because I think I hear this a lot, and I think there are I wish there was more nuance around the term book, because the
musical book?
But right. No, I mean I know I know we mean musical, but like there is like structural plot wise stuff, and then there is like moment to moment textual dialogue stuff.
The answer is yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I could pinpoint things on both sides. Like for me, there's threads dropped because Dorothy comes in and she has to die at the end.
Right.
So like the whole animal subplot goes away.
That's wild.
And
she gives up, guys.
She just has to give up on it. But in the book, you know, spoiler alert, I guess if you haven't read this like 30-year-old book, but like, you know, she actually does die in the book. So it makes more sense, you know, but also there
might be, except there might be hints like in the sequels that she lives. I don't know. I've like read Son of a Witch once and never got to the other ones.
Gregory Maguire is also not that great a writer. Let me just put that bold opinion out there.
Am I the only? I'm not even a Wicked zealot, but I am a maybe like 7 out of 10 on Wicked. I think
I used to be like 7, 8. Now I'm kind of like 4, 5. Like,
wow.
I don't
know. If I listen to my episode of Musicals with Cheese where I'm big defending it, I think I'll be I'd really cringe. But really that watch, and I was going in with like the idea of like, hey, let's see what this movie might look like. Like, let me see how Act 1 would feel as a film. Because it's like, I now know that's the plan. And now let me see what Act 2 is like as a film. And when I heard that they're splitting it into 2 parts, my only thought is, that's great news for Wicked Part 1. People are going to be leaving that fucking theater, firing guns in the air, feeling great. What is Wicked Part 2 going to be except but a huge disappointment?
Well, and you know, Jess, I was very cynical because I know that that Wicked poster has been on the Universal Studios backlot tour
for years.
For decades. Okay, maybe since when the musical came out. Like
maybe
they
even before that.
have been. Oh yeah, and the thing is, I know people in the biz, and I know that WB/Universal have been wanting a new Harry Potter franchise for a very long time. They have been really wanting it. And Wicked is extremely successful. It's extremely cinematic. It's tied into a bigger universe. And if need be, there's stuff to pull from all these books. You could like pick and choose, and you could pull from L. Frank Baum. So there's like a lot. So when I heard they were making it into 2 movies, I was like, and there it is. And there it is. We're going to get Shiz University land right next to Hogwarts. And, you know, this is for the making of monies. And I was very skeptical. So and we'll get into
Yeah,
I was thinking of the movie. So.
And not to throw this out there, but I want to make sure I say this while we're talking about sequel potential. Did we all see the Stephen Schwartz, Winnie Holtzman interview where they said, we're working on something to expand this universe. We're not quite calling it Wicked 3 or 4, but we got something going on.
I
and...
did not see that, but I
have not seen that.
I mean, that makes sense. That makes sense.
It's a cash cow.
It's a cash cow.
Well, and as of right now, it is, as of right now, it just had the largest opening weekend of a Broadway adaptation in history. So, they backed the right horse, apparently.
Even before that, if you divide Universal, the entity, into IPs, Wicked has made Universal more money than anything else before the movie.
Yeah.
Which is wild.
Yeah.
They own Harry Potter.
And they actually bought the rights to the book before it was even a musical, like in the 90s. And they were going to make a film version of the book, and then the musical came, and of course the musical was huge,
Universal produced the musical. Like they owned it. Mark Platt.
They produced it in that they allowed Stephen Schwartz and Winnie Holtzman
to
do their pet project. Like, this will be nothing, whatever.
Disney laid the template. They showed everyone in the 90s that a big corporation can back a project, in this little street in New York City,
right.
The most relevant street in New York City by far. But they laid the groundwork, and Wicked kind of perfected it almost as much as they could for a stage show. And I have, to me, because I teach kids, I've taught the songs from The Wizard of Oz a million times. I just did it this past summer, so I just watched The Wizard of Oz the other night, and I know every single word of that.
It's a good movie.
The house began to stitch, all that shit.
It's a good movie.
And I've taught Wicked songs to Wicked songs to kids a million times. I'm probably going to do What Is This Feeling this year with some middle school. It's so relevant, and middle schoolers love it. Like little 13-year-old girls love it, and that's great. We need to have works that are geared towards little 13-year-old girls and that have songs for them. And that's where the show has, kind of always lived for me. Like, not like it's a baby show for babies, but like more that if this hit me when I was 13, I would be all in, like how I was with Rent,
or like how I was with Phantom. I mean, it just hit you at that right point, and it's like, okay, well, this is going to shape my personality for the rest of my life, I guess.
This is about to be a wild sentence with a goat mask on my head. But and I'm sure this is like with the rose-tinted glasses of being a, coming out gay high schooler discovering musical theater. But Wicked, after listening to the album and then seeing it live, right? I think the things that aren't on the album that then get filled in when you go to see the show is all the Madame Morrible and the kind of the
bad stuff,
the fascism,
the espionage, the kind of control of the media, and living as a mildly anarchist 16-year-old in a post 9/11 suburban town.
I mean, that was no accident that was happening, just as the Iraq War was ramping up.
Should we talk about the Bush era politics in this musical?
That's why I said it's a wild thing to say, dressed as I am.
That's why Les Mis hits for the kids. That's why Rent will hit for the kids.
Yeah,
is that acceptable? I can rebellion and singing the song.
And so Wicked has always still has hit that way for me, but that none of that's on the CD.
No,
right?
You got to really, really look at it. And I think there's a lot of hand whinging about the movie society needs today.
Right.
But
society never needs movies.
Right.
I think it's almost, fitting that it's coming out at this particular time.
Absolutely.
Very
history.
And how many of its lessons will fly over people's heads like Elphaba on a broom? Anyway.
Did we want to talk about how we felt about the movie?
Yeah,
I suppose we should probably get to that. I mean, we talked. Well, since we were talking about splitting it into two parts, I kind of want to start with how we felt that played off, because like Emily, I was really skeptical about them doing that. I was convinced that they could not pull this off either without A, making it extremely bloated, or B, making it feel like, this incomplete, and just leaving you like, okay, so yeah, that was fine, but yeah, that was only part of the story. And actually, I was surprised at how well they pulled it off, because
I loved it.
I loved it.
Yeah.
It's better than the stage show. Full stop.
Yeah.
They fixed problems. Sorry,
Jess is biting his tongue down there below me, but
I didn't expect to like it.
Before Jess unbites his tongue, I am campaign make all stage musicals 2 movies. Because
Tommy, with respect, you're also campaigning make all movie musicals the producers.
Absolutely. And I think the problem, every producers is an apt example, and like I don't think it translates well back to screen. But every time Hairspray producers, every time they take something, especially something that has been demonstrably good on film, take it to the stage, add music, and then take it back to film, they got to hack and slash at the thing to make it make sense for film.
Yeah.
And like, I've never really thought about it like that, but maybe we just need more time for some things in film. I was surprised how much of the movie was kind of word for word just the stage play.
It was word for word. When I watched that slime tutorial just the other night, I was like, well, shit, this is the same. They just added.
I mean, there is some stuff expanded on, or, and a few things that are cut, but...
Yeah, where's innuendo, out your endo?
Isn't that an act 2?
No, that's act 1.
I don't remember.
And they kept there's jokes that I never thought Toss was funny. It always felt incredibly self-indulgent. It felt like to me the actors are having a lot of fun doing this, and I'm just sitting here watching these girls do this thing with their hair, and they think this is really funny. And even in the movie, I think it was because when Cynthia Erivo was doing it to herself, she just looked like really cute, natural, and I was like, oh, that's nice. Okay,
yeah,
there you go. Like there were some things that I think worked better. I don't know. I thought it was good. I didn't cry like how a lot of people have been crying.
Yeah,
but,
I think that's ridiculous.
I was like, I'm gonna cry at Defying Gravity.
Part of the story.
Yeah, I know. And I'm a person, I'm telling you guys right now, For Good has never made me cry. I've never cared about For Good. I'm always like, girl, they're coming to get you. You need to go. Like,
For Good kind of creeps up like a jump scare at the end because we need to wrap this fucking thing up.
But like my husband will talk about it. He's like, that song is amazing. And I'm like, well, good. Great. Maybe it'll affect me with this one. But like, I think I don't know. I thought it was good. It was good.
All right, Jess.
Jess, lay it on us.
Okay, go.
I am a little baffled at the very warm reception that this movie is getting. Not because all the concerns that you all brought up about it feeling a little too overdrawn, a little too long, and a little empty at the end. I personally felt all of those things. Everything that I was concerned about was a problem, nowhere near to the extent that I thought it was going to be, but it was definitely felt. Things that take 1 or 2 seconds on stage take 30 seconds in this film. And I'm a big fan of what you can say with a song, you can say with a look quite often. But here it's not just you can say with a look, and then we have a line of dialogue that we newly added, and then we have a song that says the same thing. That is like it was a frustrating watch, and I do want to see it a second time because maybe it is just kind of a little too awareness and a little bit of frustration of me knowing the material so well. So I am like, okay, do we need this additional line of dialogue scripted for the movie that is going to repeat this song break that we're going to have in 5 seconds, as well as having these wonderful actors really execute these pieces fantastically. And it just felt like that repeated on a bunch of different levels. And it especially hit me when I realized that every song had an extended dance break. Where I thought maybe Sentimental Man does not need to have an extended dance break, you guys.
I wanted him to walk around the model city like he was Godzilla. And I hope we do get that.
He was golden all over the place, baby. You know.
And then my specific pet peeves, which is, why do we have to make a prophecy and make Elphaba a Christ figure now, the chosen one figure?
You're assuming that prophecy is like, that's in, you know, any way accurate and not just the story that they're telling themselves.
Yeah.
I would disagree if it wasn't told by literally Elphaba and Glinda to Elphaba and Glinda.
But I think the whole idea, like, this is a show, it's like Into the Woods, where like it is predicated on the idea that everyone knows how this story ends, right? And they do it in the movie, they do it in the stage play, they do it in the movie 2 times more when the first shot is like slow zoom over bucket with water reflection, right? We get it. And like
the quartet walking down the road.
Yeah. The shtick of the movie is that you know Dorothy's gonna kill Elphaba, right? You know something about this story. It is so culturally ubiquitous that you can't help but not know these things. And so like that's the I love that shit.
I think I understand every positive opinion being expressed here, and I don't mean to be the negative Nelly here, but I just felt that the story elements harmed the overall arc for the characters, and it made me more frustrated because I think these actresses are doing a fantastic job with the material.
I think there was some things that they put in that I did like. For example, you know, when they're talking about, you know, the iconic hat. And you know, which which Glinda gives to Elphaba because she thinks the hat is hideous, and she just wants to, you know, does kind of this cruel joke to her. And you know, when she, you know, her friends, you know, are kind of goading her to do this and like, go on, you know, and she's like, I'm not sure. And then Elphaba walks in. And you know, she kind of sees that Elphaba like has all her books on like sorcery and magic. And it was like, you know, it kind of clicked for me right there that it was like, okay, oh yeah, because this is, you know, this is her going, wait a minute, she has what I want, and that is not fair because just because I want it.
That is great filmmaking work. I agree.
Her to do this thing, which turns out to be a terribly cruel joke. I mean, it's actually uncomfortable, you know, the payoff for that when you know, Elphaba walks into the club and like everybody is laughing at her. So yeah. And then she like really has this, oh my God, I just did this terrible thing moment.
It is. I will also jump on your side, Jess, as well, because like the conclusion of that scene, right? The story bit is that Elphaba moved so much by her roommate's act of kindnesses today, wakes up the most brilliant professor in the world to be like, hey girl, I need a favor. Can you come down to the club with me tonight?
Can you come down to this illegal club where all us underage people are drinking?
That is the thing that kind of, you know, I was like, wait, what? Because, you know, in the movie, they, you know, they have this thing like, we're not supposed to be going out after dark. And the Ozdust is basically, well, literally this underground club. It's kind of implied that it's under like the waterway they use to get into the university with like these fish, you know, swimming up above them.
Which is cool.
And
Roger Rabbit style, it's run by the animals.
Elphaba just invites a teacher over there and there are 0 consequences. So it's like, what the hell?
Wild. Also to be like, can you imagine if like the professor you looked up to in college like hit you up at the dive bar in town at 1 a.m. and was like, hey, I hear you really wanted to join the anthropology of queer language. I got you this bonus book so you can come to my 400 level course tomorrow. I don't think you're going to be good.
By the way, I don't like you.
Yeah. That doesn't.
They could have found a way to, you know, work that better. Yeah. I think.
I agree. And for every one of those, there is something that also pulls me back to the positive side. No one likes something bad. I have not stopped thinking about how they did something bad in this movie and how effective and kind of
little
spooky
shadow
it is.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it is so spooky. It is. You know, they do kind of. I'm kind of curious to see what they do with the animal stuff in the next one because they do expand on it in this one. We see a lot more of them. We've got a fantastic turn by Peter Dinklage as the voice of Dr. Dillamond. And that scene where they're talking about, you know, how their friends are disappearing and there are animals who are, you know, basically they're being enslaved from their perspective and losing their ability to talk. And it's just absolutely freaky. In fact, the only thing I don't like about that scene is that they cut, you know, Elphaba's last line in the song. It couldn't happen here in Oz, which is, you know, one of those things that maybe just a little on the nose, but at the same time, it's kind of one of those things that I think you need to hear in the story because it is happening to them and it can happen and is happening now.
And I gotta say, Emily. Though, no, you're fine. I gotta say, and just having rewatched it again after seeing the movie, I had just the opposite reaction. I was so happy to see so much more fleshed out all around, which I don't usually feel that way.
Yeah.
Everything just feels so rushed in the stage version now to me.
It does a bit, yeah.
And just having that character growth, but also that world building. And it does make you, I mean, look, like when all the kids are going out with Fiyero, I was like, this looks like a fun world. I want to hang out with them. They seem like a cool
I want to go to this library and dance with the
I want to hang out with Fiyero.
Oh my God, the library was fantastic.
Yeah. You gotta watch. I have been avoiding coverage for this because I wanted to go in as blind as possible. But then between seeing it, I guess 2 days ago now, I've been like catching up. And like it sounds like a lot of the magical rainbow publicity tour has been pretty nuts. And normally I hate this kind of shit, but the production team interviews on like, you know, Entertainment and like Architectural Digest and stuff where they like break down a scene have been really wholesome and like they feel trustworthy in a way that some of this coverage doesn't feel other ways. There's a whole breakdown of Dancing Through Life where they've got like the costume designer and you know the director and the choreographer, and they're like talking about figuring out all these weird hamster wheel things. And then there's a bit where the director's like, I didn't like that they were called the hamster wheels, so we came up with a new thing. And then I don't know, it's like the costume
tornado wheels.
Yeah, they look like hamster wheels. But anyway,
the hamster wheels. I mean,
they function like hamster wheels. Yeah.
They do.
But like, it feels like a lot of the art that went into this was really considered in a movie that could have just been I don't know, if we put Wicked on the front of it and put these people in it, we're going to make $1 billion no matter what.
The Stephen Daldry version where Lady Gaga was Elphaba that we were about to get 10 years ago. No, thank you, everybody.
No, but God forbid you make movie musicals by people who know how to make musicals and people who like musicals.
And what I love is, you know, this is, John M. Chu, the director, and Christopher Scott, the choreographer, they were also did In the Heights. And what I loved about that one, and what I loved about this one is that they are really good at using space in the dance numbers. And Dancing Through Life is like this perfect example where they've got like these, you know, weird circular, you know, research shelves in the library and, you know, all the desks and stuff. And they're just, you know, using them and spinning around and dancing. And it's so fantastic and joyful to watch. And also Jonathan Bailey is like 17 different kinds of hot in that scene. So
yeah, you know, I had never seen Bridgerton or anything. And I was like, okay, I get it. I
did not know, you know, I did not know he could sing and dance like that. And I was like, oh my goodness.
Okay, one, you have to
I know
look
he has
up
an Olivier, right?
You got to look up his Not Getting Married Today from Gender Swapped Company. It is a
okay.
Second, behind me in the theater were these two girls, and every time Fiyero came on screen, they reacted like the characters in the movie. They were like, oh. And like, I get it. It worked.
Well,
I
think he's fantastic because, you know, he's very charming. You know, he's got a great sense of comic timing. And, you know, it's just, but you also get a sense of that this character has like a really good heart. Like they add this scene where it's, you know, he kind of comes across Elphaba in the forest and they have this, you know, thing and she starts going into her, no, I'm not seasick. And he's just like, yeah, whatever. And, you know, and just kind of like, you know, he's kind of like the first person in the movie who like looks at her and he's like, you know, he has this moment of like, oh, that's weird. But then he gets over it.
Yeah. He more just seems like kind of like, huh, interesting. As opposed to, you know, whoa, you're great.
He does make one mild racist remark of blending in with the foliage.
Oh, well, yeah, he does. And I think you could chalk that up.
You got to let the one racist.
Okay. Yeah, this is different. But the one thing I'm curious about is what is the deal with his horse?
Because he's got his like horse from Bridgerton.
It's his Bridgerton horse.
Well, I know it is. Yeah, I know that is, and that's it. But I'm kind of like, Okay, so
the horse was like
here?
chuckling.
Is this like his servant, and this is like an acceptable horse job?
Does
the horse find this insulting? Does the horse? Does he think this is okay, and the horse doesn't? So. And those are all probably questions that may or may not ever be answered, but it was just, things that flit through my mind as I'm watching this.
If you recall the stage show, he had like just a guy like carrying him on like one of those things, and all those all those lines were just given to a horse, and it makes the world a bit bigger.
I have a wild called shot about this.
Mm-hmm.
One of the hardest numbers, I think, for me in Act 2 is going to be No Good Deed. I think a lot of Schwartz's lyrics, when closely examined, are pretty
and a lot of them happen in the second act.
and I think it's part of his success is that like when we start singing, I'm not saying a lot of other than like it's either like really big words that you're not sure if this is a weird Ozian word or 2 and 3 syllable words that are easy.
I'm about to have a fun night just for this one night. And,
exactly.
Yes, I confess.
So like at the end of No Good Deed, right? She's got to be like on top of a mountain that's on fire or something.
Right.
There are bridges you didn't cross until you know that you've crossed until you've crossed.
Yeah, right.
Well, I am going to like have a hot take here and say I actually like that line. Because that is, kind of like Glinda trying to process feelings and emotions that she literally does not have the context for. And she's, just kind of stumbling over her words
in universe, she's not good with words.
Yeah.
But so, Bridgerton
I will never forgive terrible green lizard, though. What the hell is that?
Yeah, terrible. I think to make No Good Deed be as emotionally visceral as it needs to be to match the tenor of the lyrics and the music, right? They're going to have to do some real terrible shit over the course of like 15 minutes. And the whole bit is like Fiero's dying and she doesn't know what to do about it. The horse. Remember that funny horse who talked for a little bit in the first movie? What if it sinks into the mud like in Neverending Story?
Like Artax?
Can I point something out that kind of pokes a hole? The first shot of this movie, we see that horse paddling away from the castle.
You do raise a good point. What if the horse also melts when it gets stuck with water?
But it can't be Fiero. On the horse. So
no, it is Elphaba. It's Elphaba's on the horse.
It is wild that they kind of spoil all of that too for you in the first 2 minutes of.
Well, I mean but that's one of those things. It's like you see it, at the beginning, and it's like, okay, and then you see the end, and it all makes sense.
Yeah.
Can I ask? And this is not a complaint, not a critique. This is just me talking like Robert F. Kennedy for a moment. How was the audio mix for you guys when you saw the film?
It was pretty good for the most part. I mean, it didn't feel like the orchestra or anything was overwhelming or.
Did you watch it? Didn't feel like listening to the soundtrack where all of a sudden you have like, I'm the one you want. It's me. It's me.
Here's the auto tune.
Yeah.
Not that I had a problem with that. I think so. This is a warning to all you kids out there who care about sound mixing. If you're watching it in Dolby Atmos or something that isn't IMAX, you are getting like half of your sound, and it's gonna sound really muddy and really bad. John M. Shu even had to make a tweet about it and it being bad. So you got 7.1 channels when you're in Dolby Atmos. It sounds like they just didn't turn on the 2 extras and they're just putting 5.1. So it sounds like you got the center channel with the dialogue and then all the sound effects like right around you, and the music is just drowned out by both of them.
Really?
So like when we get the bum 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 bum, I can't fucking hear it over the monkeys.
I saw the like historic theater near us is just down the street, and normally it's great because like if we went to see whatever Wes Anderson is doing next, it would have been packed. But they were doing Wicked, so there were only like 30 people there. But like I think I got like a 2.1 mix. I think I got like left and right and a sub. It was great.
I saw it on the third biggest screen in America. So
I saw it on like this little movie theater that does first run stuff, but like charges like about $5 less than every other theater in town. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just saw it in Pasadena. It's a normal movie theater, nothing fancy. What did we think of our girlies, of our main girlies?
I loved our girlies.
They did great.
I thought they were great.
I mean, Ariana Grande was absolutely fantastic in this.
And can I just say, I never doubted her for a second. From the second they announced her casting, I know so many people were skeptical, and I was like, what are you talking about?
Well, I mean, you know,
they had to audition. Like, it's not like she was going to get through all of that, but also she's always had for this project, they had to audition. Yeah, she has so much musical theater chops, and Cynthia has a literal Tony Award. So
and I didn't know that she had that high range. So, you know, that was fantastic. Right? And, you know, I would say, you know, there are some notes where she's just a little bit on the thin side, but it is a very good music theater soprano. She's definitely channeling Chenoweth in some places. But she's fantastic. She's really amazing just right out of the gate. And when they're doing No One Mourns the Wicked, and you can already see the sadness behind her eyes. Like, she knows that this is not the whole story that they're telling themselves.
Yeah. I very much expected this to be I feel like a lot of Marvel movies these days and things of that ilk are like so prevised and so planned out that by the time they're on set, there's like a mechanicalness to it of like, well, I just need to replicate what we've planned out on the storyboard for $1 million 3 months ago. And I was very pleased with some of the bits that did seem genuine and off the cuff and not like I'm recreating.
Apparently there was a little bit of improv going on the set, but it's fantastic. They have great chemistry. Popular is very adorable because Elphaba is, you know, kind of getting into it in places instead of just kind of being on the side like, what are you trying to do to me?
To one up that, Cynthia Erivo is playing a very approachable Elphaba, whereas she is very aggressive in almost every stage interpretation. Where here it's just such a charming. It's so charming. Like,
and I do like how they changed just the very reason why she's there at the school. Because I never thought about that. I was like, why would she be going the same year as her little sister? Why would she be going at all? You know, and just the way, and using that as a cool reveal for her powers and for Madame Morrible to become interested in her, and for an excuse for why Glinda has to have a roommate as opposed to just, stage, raise your hand, wrong person, wrong. You know, one of those things. It all just made it make a little bit more sense, especially for a film. But yeah, I you know, her performance kind of made me think of Leslie Odom Jr. in Hamilton, like how he's so restrained until the room where it happens. And that's what she was doing. Not that she wasn't doing amazing stuff the whole time, but it wasn't until Defying Gravity where you were like, oh, there's that Cynthia Erivo, like rawness, you know. Everything before that was so controlled. But there were so many times where she would be singing anything where I would just make that face because she was sounding so amazing and making these beautiful choices.
Oh my God, I'm not that girl.
Limb, that limb, live limb. I forget about it. I had to put my head in my hands. I was like, that's so beautiful, and it's so simple and just beautiful.
Yeah.
Do you think all these new riffs are going to go in the allowed optional options for all the shows across the world?
Who knows?
I know. It's like an arms race of riffing now.
Show was already the hardest in the world.
I had a weird sense of mourning because at least this time I had a way to go into it, which is I have to say goodbye to the Wicked on stage that exists before the movie, the movie changes it forever. Because I don't know if any of I think I might be the only big Les Mis guy in here. Seeing Les Mis before that movie and seeing it after the movie are two very different things, where they are just aping a lot of choices from that movie, both negative and positive. And I'm just like, man, I just kind of miss what it was. And I just know that this is going to steal a lot of the things that the movie did, for better and for worse. And I just kind of got to make the peace with that. But while we're talking about specific staging scenes, one of the most jaw-dropping sections of this movie is during The Wizard and I, and she goes into the wind chimes, and when she asked to be degreenified, and she has her natural skin color because the red of it makes her look like the dark skinned girl she is.
Yeah. That is
like
so
what
cool.
great moments where they like John Chu did such a good job of using the freaking medium of film. Like this isn't Susan Stroman's the producers, you know, right. It's like we are going to have real singers who know how to sing on set, as opposed to movie stars who don't know how to sing on set. Like in Les Mis, but also building practical sets, and like it was so visually fun to watch, like moments like that, just little, like all the stuff you could do in popular now, as opposed to her just like having a mirror, you know.
Right. Yeah.
Or so you know, much
what is
like
this,
that.
or you know, what is this feeling?
What is this feeling?
Is, you know,
so fun.
It's so good, and you know, even you know, it's even more gay than the stage version if possible.
Oh my god! Those girls are in
you're
love.
Lying in bed, and
they are in love,
turning, and they can't stop thinking about each other, and it's like, you two are in no way straight.
That dance when she.
Oh my god! Yes.
Again, it's played for such laughs in the stage show. She's like, "Oh, I'm a dorky dancer,"
right?
And in the movie, it's like, this is heartbreaking. And then when she does the thing where she touched her face, I was like, "Oh,
it's
they are in love."
It's challengers gender swapped. Like, they're both in love with Fierro, but actually, anyway.
Yeah.
Fierro's in love with Bach. Let's be clear. That is the vibe I was getting.
Hey, make me a t-shirt.
What about Bach? Bach sucks. But that's just the character. The character sucks. Like, it doesn't matter who you are.
Like, anything, I wanted them to play up, you know, Bach's toxic nerdness a little bit more, because I think Ethan Slater can really lean into that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He can lean into something.
Lean out of a marriage.
Yeah, there is that.
They pulled him out of
Tyler's
all
the time.
Wild.
Oh my god.
High.
I thought he actually did really well, though.
And nothing against him. I thought he did very well, but I think, you know, that's the thing that always gets me about Bach, is that he's the guy who thinks he's the nice guy, but you know, he's not, and he's just keeps going after this girl who's, you know, shown that she has absolutely zero interest, and ends up dragging this other girl into it. You know, and she's got, you know, Nessa's got her own issues with possessiveness, obviously, but
their big test is going to be in the second movie, like the whole Tin Man sequence. Like, does this feel like a? I
really hope they expand Nessa a little bit more, because I actually really was engaged by that actress.
I think they're gonna have to.
Yeah.
And in the book, she's like a freaking religious zealot.
She is. She turns Munchkinland into this theocracy.
She also has no arms, which is pretty fun. But so they could definitely make her a little bit more loopy. Also, they're gonna have to change her standing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that actress can walk and stand.
Can she?
Yeah, she can for short periods.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe they'll do that.
You know, it's one of those things. I mean, you know, they can do so much with effects. I mean, you know, it's been 30 years since they took off Gary Sinise's legs for Forrest Gump. I mean, I think they could, you know, do something where they could make a wheelchair user look like she can actually walk for.
But they did so much to change her story here, where it's, instead of like, I need to take care of my sister, it's like, oh, she can take care of herself, and She is craving independence here, as opposed to craving.
That's a good change. I think that's a change from the aughts to now. Is like, we're not going to have a wheelchair user be like, you know, needy and insulated and protected.
But what is Bach's role? Because that was kind of the only reason why he's there, is because he needed to, like.
This is why fuck Bach. Like.
Well, I mean, you know, and that's the thing, is that, you know, maybe he assumes he's holding on. You know, he's hanging out with her because she can't function on her own or something. I don't know.
Wouldn't it be great if she was just periodically cutting off his limbs and we get like the book origin?
Right. Yeah.
Like, make her full evil good. Do it.
You know, all I have to say to that is yes.
Little baby Nessa is so stinking cute.
Oh my god! And apparently the little kid is also a wheelchair user. So
she's
you know,
so cute. I couldn't handle it.
Oh my god! Both her and like little Elphaba. I mean, you know, I just want to take them home and hug them.
Yeah. They were
they were so cute.
I will say, as a very big enjoyer of this film, during the last 16 bars of Defying Gravity / the last 15 minutes of this movie, when one of the times when Elphaba's plummeting to the ground and she sees the reflection of her younger self.
Don't you dare hate on that. That's like the best, most smart moment of the movie.
But and then it was older her and younger her. Remember why? Do you need to remember who you were when you were young to be able to actualize yourself in this moment?
No, it's remembering who she's doing this for. She's she's like the one person that she's been ignoring her entire life is the child inside, the person that never got any attention. So now she's taking her. That's like the one bit of symbolism that really worked for me in this movie. And really made Defying Gravity mean something new to me for the first time instead of just oh, look at that pop song at the end of the musical.
Sure.
You know what? I will say that hot air balloon very much felt to me like in the Annie movie where they're climbing up that bridge. That drawbridge.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden Punjab just like gets them and it's like, oh, I was like, okay. Cool.
We need an action sequence in the third act.
Yeah, I mean, fair. That was
already had the freaky bit with the monkeys. What more did you need? Jeez.
That is true.
Oh, I know.
I did like freaky. That during the freaky bit.
I
with
thought
the monkeys.
that was a pretty creepy. I mean, the jump scare where it just crashes into the window next to her.
Yeah.
Does the very beginning of the overture, I guess the second movement of the overture, the
monkey theme,
does that come back in the stage play? Because I had no memory of it ever coming back.
Yeah,
I thought it was
kind
just
of. It does.
Okay.
It does.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I think every time the monkeys show up, it's usually played.
My brain's too mushy to remember any of this.
Yeah.
I if I'm speaking negatives, as I am wont to do, and this is just wasted opportunity as opposed to a true problem. Wouldn't it have been great if we had practical effects for the animals?
I thought the same thing.
Yeah.
It's immediately gonna make this look worse in 10-15 years than if we just dressed Peter Dinklage up as a goat.
The problem is they got to do Dr. Dillamond. I bet you they could have done all the other animals with some really good whatever Henson is doing these days.
Have we all seen Dungeons and Dragons: Honors Among Thieves?
Yes.
Yes.
The animal effects in that movie are incredible. Mm-hmm. Jarnathan in and of itself.
Yeah. Or even I was talking with my boyfriend about this, pull some early 2000s Air Bud shit, but with what they can do now, have a goat and then do a CGI face or something.
Or dress Bert Lahr up in a fucking lion costume.
Because they're all their marketing is we use practical sets and we built it all for real, which mostly seems to be actually true for a 2024 movie.
Yeah.
So
and Cynthia Erivo hold up Poppy's
I think we have to
golf
take
ball.
Yeah, well, and she was flying, doing her own stunts and singing that shit, which is wild.
I kind of like that they do the animals the way they do in the book, where they're actual, animals. And there's, it's CGI, but it's, I've seen worse. I saw worse CGI in the theater. Did you see the Snow White trailer?
Did you see cats?
Well, yes, there is that. But I got to tell you this. We're all sitting in the theater again. The four of us. My two kids are next to me, and we're watching this. And the Snow White trailer comes on, and the dwarfs come up, and they are both like, "Oh God!"
Yeah. And I thought Dr. Dillamond, who is the most prominent of them, looked pretty good.
Yeah.
It was a goat. And goats have those weird eyes, so they look kind of weird anyway. So it didn't bother me as much as
that a lot.
It was really cute. His little
and I did like that.
And I think he had
they show a little bit about how the animals function in the society, which kind of is a little bit leaning. Not exactly disability access, but different ability access, because he's got these little, levers that he can hit with his hooves. Mm-hmm. And
he had a special mug for to hold his tea.
And he's got in his house, he has all these low couches instead of chairs and stuff where he and his friends can sit. So it's kind of where they took this and it's okay, so we've got animals in here. How are the animals functioning? And kind of worked with that.
And I really liked how Peter Dinklage did not play him like he particularly liked Elphaba. Like there was no like deep connection there between them. He's just like, oh God, why are you following me around?
This is my favorite student. Yeah.
Oh no, the student that keeps talking to me.
Yeah, that's the vibe.
Check in with me every day. Thank you. Yes.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, not a good time, Elphaba.
Yes, you can eat lunch in here again, I guess.
Don't you have friends to hang out with, young lady?
Oh, you don't? Oh,
you
okay.
Don't? Oh, no. All right. Okay. I'm going through a whole thing now, but yeah.
Yeah.
My basic animal rights are being taken away from me. But I know it's hard being green.
Yeah.
So I don't know if people know this, but Jeff Goldblum has a jazz band out here in LA.
Oh my God.
He sure does. My husband has seen him perform twice, and he plays the piano. So he's actually, like quite the, musician. And I think the Wizard is a really fun part for a weirdo like him. I had a lot of fun when he was on. I was like, him just being him. This is perfect for the Wizard. The Wizard is weird and.
I kind of like that. Yeah, I kind of like that he kind of has almost this sadness to him. Like, I mean, he's obviously not a good person. He's basically targeted this entire, community just so he can maintain his power and, bring people together for certain values of the term. But, you look at it and he's got like this big model of Oz and he kind of implies, he kind of says something like, I don't get out much. And you realize this guy is basically a prisoner in his own home and of this myth that he has created. And, all he wants to do is, because, he's happy when he has Elphaba and Glinda there because he's got like this thing where he does like, this little.
Can I show you my toys?
Yeah, showing him his toys and doing this
one
little
of
thing where he's throwing the moon around and he just wants to entertain people. He's very good in that role, but entertainers do not make very good politicians. I'm sorry. Excuse me.
I think they have set up Wonderful to be a much better song than it is.
I think,
just watch him tap dance around his little model and like paint a little like, Madame Morrible figurine or whatever he's doing, right?
Can I bring up the weird thing that was the only thing I was thinking about, and I talked about it with my podcast co-host Andrew when he saw it. Madame Morrible had in her letter to the Wizard must have said she wears this dumb fucking hat all the time. So we can include
a green girl, pointy hat, like it's a thing.
I mean,
always wears black.
It's definitely
we all have that theater kid who finds that hat in the costume department and just wears it all year.
I don't know what you're talking about.
What are you talking about?
That's the I think you should leave sketch.
I loved the world building in this. I think it was very cohesive and very thoughtful. And I think, once you start pulling at strings about some of this stuff, like in the scene where Madame Morrible's like, Elphaba, the Wizard, he wrote you back. Quick, come to the courtyard with everyone while this balloon machine arrives that I know must be the Wizard who wrote you.
And the weather's changing. Let me fix that up real quick.
Yeah, here's a little bit of exposition for you.
I'm so sorry, but it works. That's one of the other things that works so much better on the stage, where it's raining during I'm Not That Girl, and you see Elphaba avoiding the rain, and it's like really pretty, and then she comes over with the umbrella and then says that like, hey, the Wizard called for you, and also I can control the weather, don't get wet. And it's a cute moment, and I miss
much more sense like it's a wizard gram, here it comes. Why does it have automated animals on it? No one knows. Ka-ting, a letter, whatever.
Again,
it's a movie.
No, I have to tell you the most shameless part for me. This is the most shameless part. Was Idina Menzel doing the
Yeah, that they. I
love their cameo. Love their cameo. I like that they added that part where they add a little more world building. I like
they
that
got to make the Grimmery make more sense.
I thought that was great.
Yeah.
But then she had to sing and I was like, we can't keep making Idina Menzel do this.
And of course Kristen Chenoweth has got to do her high notes because she's contractually obligated. But that was the only time where I felt like the references got just a little too indulgent.
Like, you guys,
it's like, we've got Idina and Kristen, and they're here, and they're, kind of like, kind of doing this, deep battling divas thing and playing in this silly show, and it's funny.
Reenacting what it was like when they were doing it.
But then they start like doing, kind of like doing their riffs and chumming it up with the other characters.
Exactly.
And it's like,
it doesn't make any sense if you don't know what it is.
I'm like, okay, we get it.
That part made me angry a little bit.
I watched half an interview before I had to tap out, and it was the two of them and Arrivo and Grande. And the interviewer is like, and where did the idea for the new bit come from? And they like look at each other for a second and they're like, well, Steven wrote it. Well, actually, when he sent it to us, the script description said something like, 2 old crones come out, and we're like, we're
not old
crones. And that definitely flavored more of that scene for me, where I was like, okay, there was an idea for what the scene could be, and then there was the Chenoweth Menzel rewrite that came out of this.
Okay,
that makes a lot of sense.
My teeth were gritted during that moment, but the minute a scoff came across my lips was when the wizard see you now and it's fucking Steven Schwartz's face.
I laughed at that though because the normies don't know what Steven Schwartz looks like. I
do though.
I liked his big goofy mustache.
His big goofy mustache.
And honestly, I think that's a great place to
I was fine with it.
And
it's normally the wizard.
It was just the wizard will see you now. It wasn't inserting the war cry that we're gonna hear in a half hour.
Yes.
Right.
As a cameo. So that part was a little
when he's in there too, she's like the one woman who points out and says, he can read the book.
I was surprised. I was like looking back through, and there are a couple other cameos. Like one of Glinda's parents was an Elphaba, and like a couple other things.
Her mom
no butts. Not a single butts.
There
maybe
were. I
was
surprised.
Second one. I don't know.
I was like looking up things and I was like, well, the mustache man who drives the train, that must be somebody, right?
I assumed it was like, was that Joel Grey or something? And I missed it.
It was nobody. He's like a British actor. He's great. He's
all
done
these
other things.
nobodies.
I forgot his tie. He had no ties to Wicked beforehand. And I was
you guys we're trained to expect this shit now instead of just going, oh, it's just a normal extra.
I appreciate their restraint with some of this. That it wasn't like,
and there's it's Wizard of Oz. I mean, again, like Tommy said, this is a cultural icon. So people are going to be looking for those moments. And I think a lot of them, are not, they're obvious, but they're not like really shoved in your face. Like the font for the title, or like Glinda, having the red shoes for a little bit, or my favorite, just because it's a little more inside, is at the very end when they're going through the tower and like they've got all the wizards, like old circus stuff. And there's a poster that says the wonderful Oscar Diggs, which of course is his canonical name from the Baum novels.
And you heard a reference to a Professor Mombi, which is a return to
there was a
I remember
so like little things like that.
During Popular, they did they have Brains or Knowledge? She like opens a book and there's like a picture of an old guy there.
Mm-hmm.
And I gotta go back and look at it, but I'm pretty sure it's the guy who played the wizard in 1939.
Frank Morgan.
Frank Morgan. Okay, cool.
Morgan,
yeah,
I think.
The wizard.
Yeah. Do you guys want to play a game?
Yes.
Absolutely. Do we have any last thoughts before we do that, though?
Wicked good.
Wicked better than expected, but still.
Yeah.
I don't think it fixed enough of my problems with Wicked for me to really.
I think if they had to, which they won't because it's already made $1 gazillion and they have the second part filmed. But I think if they had to, they could make this a standalone film because there's obviously some stuff that's hanging with. We don't know how the monkeys kind of go over to Elphaba's side, although that's kind of implied in the fact that their families are being held hostage. And then there's the little bit where Morible's kind of starting to draw Glinda in. So there's still some stuff that's hanging, but basically this is the Wicked Witch of the West's origin story, and like we've been saying, we all know how that story ends. So you could it is essentially a self-contained story, which I thought. And I thought it was very good.
Do you think there are people out there who will end up seeing the second movie without having seen the first movie?
I doubt it, but anything's possible.
Guys on Tinder dates have to go see some movies.
Yeah, they got to go somewhere. Well, we're going to maybe get like our first real franchise of a musical theater franchise, like big lore, like lore big, Harry Potter. The only one that comes close, I guess, is Mamma Mia. But
yeah, sure.
We tried doing it with Grease a couple of times, and it didn't work. So
yeah.
Oh yeah. But the thing with this is that after part 2, Stephen Schwartz ain't going anywhere. Stephen Schwartz is still kicking, and there's a lot of books they can pull from. Now, granted, she's dead in all those books, but you can pull a lot of stuff, and so they could keep this going.
Yeah. Speaking to your experience, Emily, like Wicked, the part 1 and part 2 that we know will happen, has the benefit of out-of-town tryouts and rewrites and all this stuff going on, right?
Yes.
And like when we get Elfie the prequel, and it's got 10 new songs in it, that's gonna have
a Wicked story.
Right, exactly.
There's gonna be I'm gonna know so many LA actors who are just doing these readings. It's like I'm doing something for Stephen Schwartz.
But like also in the same way where like I kind of am excited marginally still every time a new Star Warsy things comes out, even as shitty as some of them are. I'll still be kind of excited to see Elfie, a Wicked story or whatever it is.
I do have a weird question, and I know we're kind of moving out of predictions. Do you think Dorothy will be a face character in the next one?
I had the same question too.
Who
will play her?
Not. I hope we don't see
Liza
Dorothy's
Minnelli.
face.
There is.
I hope they don't do like Carrie Fisher in the Star Wars movies where they like CGI like a dead person and
deep
fake.
Or like Luke Skywalker in The Mandalorian where they have Mark Hamill, but they just like age him down like 50 years. Like, don't do that, please.
This movie's already
I don't
trying to skirt
see her.
MGM's copyright enough. But there was a 15 to 17-year-old girl that went to all the premieres, and had silver shoes, and people are hypothesizing that is Dorothy.
Oh, okay. Yes. Well, I wouldn't mind if she's like an unknown. Like, I don't want it to be like some like Sabrina Carpenter to pop up or something.
No.
I mean, I love
Charlie XC.
Ariana Grande was the only one who did a really good Judy Garland impression,
That is true.
Yeah, I kind of
Let's find a cameo for Liza Minnelli.
When I was thinking of things I wanted for Wicked, and I know they're not going to do this because it is so tied to the MGM movie, but I honestly wanted Dorothy to be like she is in the book, where she's just like this little, 6 or 7-year-old kid who has been told she has to kill a witch, and she is not up for it. And you just see how young she is, and being thrust into it, and just kind of realizing the
Veruza Balk is my ideal Dorothy, to be honest. Like, she's not too old, she's not too young. Oh my god, can we get Veruza a cameo?
I am very curious, and I don't know, I can't imagine they cover this in the book, but like, if we take The Wizard of Oz the movie to be like propaganda about this time in Oz, right? Yeah. But still, the Scarecrow meets Dorothy, who he knows is like brought here by Madame Morrible to complete her, destiny, political assassination, right? Does Fiyero as Scarecrow have to be like, hi, diddly-dee, the whole time with Dorothy, like pretending that he doesn't know who the witch is?
Like a while away, the hours.
Yeah, I'm not sure who she might be.
Let me be clear. I think Jonathan Bailey's a talented enough actor where he could pull that off and make it compelling.
I want to see that scene. That's a scene in the second movie.
There are those who go both ways.
As he does several times in the show. I loved how...
Anyway.
Gosh. I made it.
So yeah, Tommy has a game for us.
I got a game.
Tommy has a game.
So as we all know, the marketing push for this movie was second to none. And so I've developed a little game for us called...
okay, I can put it in here. There we go.
Called No One Mourns the Tie-Ins. In this game...
Nice use of the font.
I have several categories, and in each of these categories, I'll present to you 3 products that are Wicked tie-in products, but only 2 of them are real, and one of them is one that I made up.
Okay.
You need to guess.
Are we doing it like one by one, or is it just a free-for-all?
I'll tell you the category, and I'll tell you the things, and then you can discuss and vote.
Right.
You can choose your own vote which one you think is a fake Wicked tie-in.
Do you want me to write it down so I'm not cheating?
All right, let's do it.
All right. The first category is food.
Wicked tie-in.
Wicked tie-in. These are all real Wicked tie-ins, except for one of them. Betty Crocker Wicked Cupcake Kit in perfectly pink or enchantingly emerald. This is a cupcake kit where you don't know what color the cupcake's going to be until you bake it. Mystery flavor Oreos in bubblegum bliss or mystic mint, where the package does not tell you what Oreo color you're going to get when you open it. Or great value wicked mystery color macaroni and cheese cup, shelf stable, where you're not quite sure what color the macaroni and cheese will be until you microwave it.
I am hoping it is the macaroni and cheese because I do not want to because macaroni and cheese should not be pink or green.
I think it's the Oreos. I think the Oreos fake.
I am 100% certain it's a Betty Crocker.
Wow, we've got an even spread across them. I love this. Answers locked in. Which one of these is fake? The fake product is the mystery flavor Oreos.
Oh, okay. I do not want to see the macaroni and cheese
because I've seen both of them. I've seen both of those.
I have bad news, Christy. I have pictures.
Oh, jeez.
Here's the wicked
cupcakes.
And here on Walmart's website, they advertise this great value mystery color mac and cheese as shelf stable, which is a wild thing to do.
Tommy, you can
hold a shelf up on it?
Can I push against the judgment here?
What judgment?
Christy, share what I just said.
Okay, well, but
wow, wait a minute.
But it doesn't have mystery, so
no, that's real.
Yes,
no.
Apparently, wow.
How did you get both of those?
The credibility of my game is thrown. 4 days ago, I did make this last week.
Wow.
Well, hold on.
I'm rethinking everything now.
I don't know if this is.
Believe, but anyway,
I'm doing some last-minute research here, and this exists only in tweets.
I think Jesse I think that's a lie.
You think I made that up?
Yes, I think you made it right now.
But I think Sounds of Series on Twitter may have made it up, but I've deleted Twitter from all of my existence, so I can't open this tweet.
Wise move.
I think this might be. I think you might have been taken for a ride, Jeff.
I was fooled. They tricked me.
If someone can procure a wicked Oreo, I will eat it and my words.
It makes more sense than mac and cheese.
It sure does. That's why I made it up.
I would sooner have like pink and green Oreos than pink and green mac and cheese. I'm sorry, I don't know what marketing genius came up with that.
I do have one more image to show you, and it is of the pink and green mac and
cheese.
Have another bite, my dark-eyed beauty.
Both are bad.
Ew.
Both are bad. Okay, next category. Transportation.
Oh, geez. 2
of these are real, and 1 of these is fake. Spellbinding Elphaba and Glinda 2004 Lexus TX SUV.
Oh,
Chicago CTA Wicked Holiday Trains, Glinda and Elphaba-themed holiday cars. Or a 24-volt 4x4 Lamborghini Veneno 2-seater ride-on, ages 3 to 8, available in pink and green.
I think it's the holiday trains.
Okay.
I think it's the Lexus. I don't know. The Lexus seems like something so crazy it might actually be real. So I think it might actually be the ride-on.
I'm gonna say the Lamborghini is fake.
Yeah, the Lamborghini.
All right, let's take a look. The fake one is the CTA holiday trains.
You're kidding! I would have thought that was
real.
I've seen ads for the other 2.
It took me a long time to find in real life pictures of the SUVs because there's a lot of terrible looking renders of them. But here they are. On the left is the Lexus, and on the right are like tiny little children's cars that you can drive around your cul-de-sac.
Those are cute though. I do like that.
Who said capitalism is bad?
They're part of like the Bloomingdale's Wicked Holiday Collection, which is wild because half of it's Wicked stuff, but half of it's just pink and green shit.
Wow.
Like there's like a knit your own scarf, but it's green, so it's Wicked.
It's like when Shrek and Barbie announced their marriage.
No.
All right. Lego minifigures.
Ooh.
Lego
now
has.
I'm curious.
They've released 4 sets as tie-ins for the Wicked movie. I think 4, and pedantically, these are not technically minifigures. They're weird, like micro figures that they do that are a little
kind of like the little Friends ones that are kind of like about a couple inches high.
Yeah, they look more like what's the word I'm looking for? The Funko? No, something. They look different.
No.
Playmobil. That's the word. They look more like Playmobil things. But so you can get a Lego minifigure of 2 of these 3 characters from Wicked: Madame Morrible, Nessa Rose, and Dr. Dillamond.
I'm guessing it's Dr. Dillamond because the Legos Friends thing are like really heavily marketed towards girls, so they're gonna have like all the girl characters.
Christy thinks you can't get Dr. Dillamond. Jess thinks you can't get Morrible.
I think Morrible because girls, by your same logic, girls like animals, and he's a goat.
Okay, I'll go with Nessa Rose just to mix it up.
Another even
because they hate wheelchair users. Yeah.
Yeah, Lego notoriously not inclusive. The minifigure you cannot get is Dr. Dillamond.
Oh,
see, that'd be cute though. What a cute little.
I would love a cute Dr. Dillamond.
What did they do to the wizard?
Oh yeah, why are the wizard and Madame Morrible having
on
tea?
all his promo art in the movie?
Yeah,
is he holding? Oh, I thought it was a heart. Is that an apple?
I also originally thought it was a heart. I do think it is an apple.
It's an apple.
I think the product designers for Lego were not given a lot of pre-promotional material about this show.
Okay, yeah. What the heck is Nessa wearing?
Right?
She does not have anything like that. It's like, okay, we've only got this one character who's a wheelchair user. I don't know.
Yeah, but I'll swing my suitcase.
Yeah.
I have not included them all. There are several outfits you can get for Elphaba and Glinda.
I'm sorry.
Also, why? Like Dr. Dillamond and Madame Morrible are going out for tea or something?
No, it's the wizard. And you know what? The only character that drank tea in the entire fucking movie was Dr. Dillamond.
Exactly. Bullshit.
It's like they went. Okay, these all have to have props. I mean, Elphaba's got her broom, Glinda's got her wand. We'll just do like teacups and briefcases, and
Nessa's got her suitcase.
I know,
and they got to go to school.
Their teacups look like toilets too. Like, all right.
This is my bedpan.
This is my
The next category is bath bombs. Lush has introduced a series of Wicked tie-in bath bombs that you can purchase.
I'm so sorry to derail this, but I own a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle bath bomb because it's so wacky that they made one.
I love bath bombs.
We're a big bath bomb household.
I love bath bombs.
There are 2 of the 3 of these that I will purchase. One I won't because it's not real. Elphaba's hat. These are the slogans underneath. Magic Unleashed. The Wizard, Sentimental Oak Moss Soaks, or Glinda's Bubble, altogether quite impossible to describe.
I want to say the Wizard because that is so funny. Yeah. Sentimental Oak Moss Soaks, and Oak Moss Soaks that trips off the tongue so beautifully.
Right? I'm gonna say the Wizard as well, just because
that's like a Schwartz lyric.
Very Schwartzian.
All right,
and looked at with an ice cold eye.
2 votes for the Wizard being fake. What do you think, Jess?
I think it's not Glinda's bubble. I think it's Galinda's bubble. So I'm gonna say that one.
Interesting.
Ooh,
the fake bath bomb is Glinda's bubble. Jess gets it.
Wow.
Bam.
Don't worry.
I knew it was just too clever. This
Lush,
too clever.
Lush did a bunch of wonderful marketing photos for this. First up, here's the Wizard. You can see it right there. Sentimental Oak Moss Soaks.
I'm dying.
What is that face?
Have a nice relaxing bath with the evil steampunk head.
Right?
Ew.
Also, Jeff Goldblum is so excited that he's a bath bomb now.
You can have a bath with him.
Okay, but you think this is wild? I need to show you one of my favorite promotional photos I've ever seen for a product, and it is for the Elphaba's hat bath bomb. And it is of this person who very clearly the photographer was like, now hold it over your head.
Well, he's just got a tiny little hat right there.
Magic Unleashed.
They've got just like a wee little hat.
You can make it look like the opening shot of the film.
Yeah.
Yeah, as you luxuriate in your bath.
Detail on that hat. Gorgeous.
They have a lot of other options. There is Glinda's Wand.
I want to get more of these.
And Glinda's Tiara soap.
Pink Fizz is good with green.
I like Shiz University's slogan, thank Oz for shea butter.
Oh,
I like the green shower elixir where I can get date raped according to the books.
Oh yeah, I have another.
Oh jeez.
It was also the one where they were like, "Green is my power color." Like, I don't think that's a line from.
Yeah, you might not. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, wait. I want to talk about the movie for a brief second before we go on. One of the biggest nitpicks about the musical is that they're wearing the stupid green goggles from the books. But the only reason why they had the green goggles in the books is because actually the Emerald City is not a green place. They just wear the glasses to make it look green. So, but it made no sense. So they just made it green, got rid of the stupid glasses.
It's
Good
silver
move.
because it's a metaphor for America's shift to the silver standard from the gold standard.
That's been debunked, and also Frank Baum's a racist.
Yeah, but I wrote a whole paper.
Oh, they all are.
Everyone was racist back
then. The first Wizard of Oz film was a minstrel movie.
Everyone's racist right now, and brings me back to Avenue Q. Our last category, my favorite category, is grab bag. You'll never guess which one of these three things is fake. Is it Biddy Boomer's Glinda portable Bluetooth speaker?
Oh, I hate those two words put together.
Bach Funko Pop collectible figurine? Or Tubbs first edition Elphaba Throp cosplaying rubber ducky vinyl figure?
Bach Funko Pop.
I'm going to go with the Biddy Boomers. That just sounds
What's
wrong.
Tubbs first edition Elphaba Throp cosplaying rubber duck vinyl
I'm assuming it's like a little rubber duck dressed as Elphaba, which I think would be super cute, and I want to.
Yeah, I want to go with Biddy Boomers because that name makes me want to punch something. Biddy Boomers, ew.
That's what I call short old people.
All right, Emily says. Emily says Biddy Boomers.
Biddy
Jess,
Boomers.
you think the Funko Pop's fake? Christy, which one do you think is fake?
I think the Biddy Boomers.
The fake one is. It goes to Jess. The Funko Pop is fake.
Yeah,
no one saw the Biddy Boomers.
Nobody wants a Bach Funko Pop.
I've got
Nobody
pictures.
likes Bach. Even Bach doesn't like Bach, and I mean, it's
Biddy
those
Boomers
ducks
on
are
the left.
adorable. I love those
Ducks are
duckies.
cute. I want the ducks.
Okay, so there is this library near where I am where they've got like all these little rubber ducks lined up, outside the window where you can see like the check-in machine, just because people keep giving them, and I want to give them those duckies.
There you go.
So
They're from Tubbs, I guess.
Tubbs.
Both Tubbs and Biddy Boomers offer a chain of character tie-in Bluetooth speakers and rubber ducks.
Okay, so they are speakers. That
they
little
are
Glinda
speakers
has a
on the left,
speaker
yes.
coming out of her head.
And you can indeed get a variety of Funko Pops, just not Bach.
Okay.
Including five Glindas.
Jesus
well, Glinda's got like
Christ.
all the costumes, so
No
much
Nessa,
Phantom.
so he has nothing to confess of.
That is true. I think because the
Sphere
Funko
will
Pop
have a
will-
beard.
Why?
I guess he does
stubble.
kind of have that stubble going on, but
It's a little stub. Some
They got those
stubs.
dead goat eyes. That was No One Mourns the Tie-ins. Thank you for playing.
Wow.
I was not keeping
Bravo,
score.
Dr.
Everyone
Dillman.
wins.
Bravo.
all right, and thank you everybody for coming. I love everyone so much. Do you want to take a minute to promote your social media, any upcoming projects, any projects that have stalled but you still like people to learn about? Whatever.
Christy.
Yeah, same. I think a couple of us are in that. Okay, hi, I'm Emily Clark. My YouTube channel is Stealing Focus. I don't really post there anymore because I'm still working on my thesis and I have a real life now, unfortunately. But you can catch me on all this stuff. I'm on Blue Sky and TikTok and Instagram at Emily A.B. Clark. Find me there.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and Tommy, you're next.
I'm Tommy. I have, if you want to see a much younger me with much more optimistic views, you can go to youtube.com/musicaltheatermash or check out the Jim and Tomic podcast or maybe we'll get back to it once more with Dragons D&D podcast. If you ever want to play Dungeons & Dragons professionally, I also run a Dungeons & Dragons business these days. Also, I have a secret project that you can only find through deciphering clues that I will randomly and variously leave on my Blue Sky.
Ooh.
Maybe by the time this project blows up, this will be a fun little hint for people in the future. That's me.
Boy, that's
Yes.
confusing.
There is.
I still, till the end of my days, I'm doing a podcast called The Cheese Wheel. It was formerly The Musicals of Cheese, then we stopped caring about musicals, and now we can talk about whatever we want, and thankfully no one stopped listening.
Congrats.
I love it, and I can't wait to have all three of you on that show and talk about your biggest hyperfixations. I am also still in post-production on a feature film that all three of you have seen, and
it's
I
great.
think none of you
fantastic.
hated it.
I can't wait to see the final cut.
No, not one of us hated it.
Get your
It's wonderful.
What product tie-ins are you gonna do? I want to see Betty Crocker.
Domino flavored
Mac and
cupcakes.
cheese.
Domino's, a pizza chain.
Okay, that was actually an early talk, and I was like, "That's really dumb. I'm not doing that."
Can I remind you of the rubber ducks? Anyway.
I guess, but I don't think our film. But I'm glad you guys all gave notes, and I've made it better. I am very, very grateful to all. And some of you are in it. Emily, you're in the movie.
I am.
You are.
Am I voiceover or am I? Oh, I'm a headshot. I'm a headshot. I'm a headshot. I'm a headshot. I'm a headshot.
Christy, I'm gonna put you in it soon too.
I'm a headshot. I forgot. There's an old headshot of me.
Yeah,
when I was young.
And you still look like 10 years younger than me. And so
thank you. It's the filter.
You're all just so beautiful, and I look like I've aged so much.
You're all wonderful. I love you, everyone. Go see Wicked. Love it, hate it. It is the musical event of the season, so have fun. We'll talk to you soon.
We'll see you in a year.
See you for Wicked Part 9.